Hey everyone. I do believe we have season 6, episode 12. I don't even know if I'm right on that. If I'm wrong, you can yell at me. Feel free. I'm bad with numbers. But tonight I thought instead of doing, the rundown where I rant on it, I'll just rant on it. I honestly don't think anyone really watches these anyway. So uh, it's not going to make a difference. But I kind of feel like I'm going to be in the minority on this one. I wasn't crazy about the episode. And that's not to say I hated it. I just, you know, for one thing, it's just another episode to kill time, to string us along until we meet Negan. And I hate it when they do that because, you're the most watched show in cable history, I believe, 3 times, which means you set the record and broke it another 2 times. So you don't need to string us along to keep us tuned in. It just feels like a bully move. Seriously, move the storyline on a little faster, please. But that being said, I can't say it was a bad episode. But the whole Carol thing, I feel like we've watched her change. So watching her change again is nothing new, and it's a little, I don't know, it's unwanted on my part. I like badass Carol. I understand that we can't have Carol just remain to be this soulless killer the entire time. I just don't know that the change needs to be this dramatic and be this drawn out and be, my fear is this: they're changing her into Morgan. And of all the people on the planet, I don't want to be Morgan. It's Carol. I hate Morgan. I love Carol. And I just feel like, hey, you know, don't worry. We're going to kill Morgan, but we're going to keep that hold on to our humanity argument going. Now it's going to be Carol. So I do not want to do a rant where I'm out there going, God, I hate Carol. That's my biggest fear. And I get that, they are really pumping up the bloodthirst in Rick. I never read the comics. I'm a fan of the show, but I know people who did read the comics, and Negan's pretty bad. Universally, that's the that's the answer I get when asked about him. He's badass, and the Saviors are a tough army. You know, so they're kind of, I feel like the Rick we've been watching in the show wouldn't translate well into a guy who'd go to war with Negan and win. So they're building him up to be, with things like, wow, those saviors are scary, but not as scary as you. And, right in mid sentence, he executes the guy. We've always known Rick had it in him. I mean, we've watched him execute people in the prison. He can turn it off quite well. Um, but other than that, yeah, I will say this much though, and I am not the biggest Maggie fan. Anyone who's watched my videos can attest to that. I'm enjoying this change that's happening in Maggie. The maternal instincts are kicking in. The mama bear thing, is kicking in, and with that's adding a sense of fear that she didn't have before. I mean, her and Glenn were in love, but there's nothing. I've been told over and over again, there's nothing like a mother protecting her child. It's instinctively that it can't be described in words, and I think she's playing that out pretty good. But I also think that she's out there, and I said this last week, she's out there, she doesn't want to be Lori. Lori was just someone who was married to someone important, and I'm pregnant, and you owe me, and whether they wrote her like that or not, that's the way Lori came off to viewers. And clearly the writers do not want Maggie to get that backlash. Apparently they might not have liked Lori, but they really do like Maggie. So, but that aspect of the change that we're seeing with Maggie, I like. It's enjoyable for me to watch anyway. So, anyway, my rant is what it is. So, I think this one's going to be a short one, and we'll see what happens next week. I mean, let's face it, we're all waiting to meet Negan, and we're going to meet him for 4 seconds in the very last episode. Oh, I do have one question. I mean, how many people does Negan have in the Saviors? Because between, I mean, what, they've taken out like 16, 17 of them? I don't know, maybe less, but I don't, you know, I mean, it's gotta hurt. There's a lot of people missing from his ranks. So, you know, if anyone knows, tell me, how big was his army? I'd like to know, because see what we're going up against. Anyway, I'll see you next week, and hopefully I'll have a happier rant.